So what you see going on in the background, Lynn is on the tractor and she is separating the good logs from the bad logs, the ones that have the S-curves, the ones that aren't necessarily in the best shape for making log cabins out of. So she is doing that. Meanwhile, I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on what we've been doing over the last 24 hours. So we're going to make these log cabins. They're going to be the first structures that go onto the property. These things are going to be made from our cedar logs. Now, you want to make sure that you strip the bark off of those in order to make sure that you don't have any insects underneath there, because they use that as a shelter so they can go ahead and feast on the wood without any predators getting to them. What you see here is actually the first log that we have stripped. Now, I did this on my own with a draw knife and a spud. And a spud is basically this metal spaded tool with a long handle, and it just allows you to get a good leverage in order to scrape that bark off of there. The problem, of course, is that doing it by hand like that, it took me 6 hours to get this log done. That is way too long for our purposes. Like I said, I'm kind of an impatient kind of guy, and I like things to be moving along at a good pace. So went online, looked up a tool that gets attached. It's basically a disc meant specifically for removing bark off of trees, and it goes onto an angle grinder. Let me tell you, watching that demonstration, that tool went through the bark like it wasn't even there. Naturally, that caught my eye, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So the next video, the next update that you see is going to be the difference between how long it took me to do this by hand and how long that tool is going to make our life so much easier by making it a much shorter process for us to get these logs ready to go. So the last time that I made this trek from this perspective, it was an update video in the dead of winter, and I was hiking my ass through some pretty deep snow, and let me tell you, it was not particularly easy. I'm told that it was a bit of an anomaly, that it normally doesn't get that much snow, but we'll find out, because in the years to come, we're going to have all kinds of data points that we can compare that to. But in the interim, as you can see, I am not here now in the middle of winter. We are here in the middle of August, and Lynn is currently up at the front of the property. As I had mentioned, she's moving the logs that we're going to be using for the log cabins. But where I'm at right now is the medieval village site, and is currently, as you can see, has all kinds of slash piles. It's got logs in the way. It's got some uneven ground going across the terrain here. Well, thankfully, we have got some contractors who are going to be making short work of all of this stuff. They're going to come through here with some pretty heavy machinery. If you've seen the last update video, you know what I'm talking about. They've got the Beast. They've got the Swiss multi-tool on the end of the trencher they got out there. They're going to be able to make short work of all of this stuff, and it's going to completely open up this terrain here in order for us to begin building the medieval village, which is going to be one of the central focal points of the castle site itself, because this is where it's going to have the outbuildings. It's going to have the market buildings. It's going to have the blacksmith and the tavern and the inn. And speaking of the tavern, Lynn and I have decided that we're going to make this a little bit larger than the typical structures that we've seen, like with the cabins that are going to be about 10 by 12. Well, the tavern is going to be a bit larger than that. It's going to be able to house about 50 people on the inside, and then of course there will be some outdoor seating going on, and that is actually going to go right there in the middle of all of that you see right in front of you. Now there's a road that circumnavigates it around the outside, and it goes off to the right down there, and it leads off to the battlefield. You got the road off to the left here that circles around and goes off towards the castle site. But right here, smack dab in the middle, is going to be the tavern. Now, the tavern itself is going to be a central focal point, because if going to all of these different events and going after a long day of fighting, people want to relax. They want to chill out, maybe get served an easy meal, but most particularly, they like to drink. So, yes, we will have alcohol on site, but it is going to be, again, of the nature that you would have found back in the day. They're going to be the ales and the meads and the different kinds of beers. Of course, you'll have ciders as well. But we want this to be a place where people can get together. They can relax. They can socialize with their friends. And yeah, we have big hopes for it. It is going to require a building permit, of course, but we're prepared for that. And liquor license, of course, that's going to be required as well. So we've got some administrative hoops that we're going to have to jump through, but we're prepared to do so. But in the interim, we're going to have this ground cleared in the very near future. The contractors say they're going to be completely done with all of the work that they're doing, clearing out the property, getting rid of the undergrowth, the scrub brush, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to take them approximately until, I think they had said it's going to be a total of 3 months, which will put them right around the end of September, beginning of October timeframe. So this place is going to look a whole lot different by then. We're going to be installing a well in the village site as well, so that way people have a place to come in order to get fresh water if they need it. We got big plans, lots going on, and yeah, I'm pretty excited for how this place is going to look in the very near future, and I will be sure to keep you guys apprised and updated as to how it looks when they're done.